Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about one of the people on the show, Too Large. If you're not familiar, I've actually made a video about this show in the past. It's very similar to like My 600 Pound Life, where they kind of chronicle these people that are large, usually they're 600 pounds or more, that are trying to lose weight. They end up going to see Dr. Proctor, who is a very well-known weight loss surgeon. And so what they're trying to do is lose a little bit of weight, get a weight loss surgery, and then obviously lose the rest of their weight. Today we are going to be focusing on George Covington, who is a 45-year-old kindergarten teacher in Georgia.
My name is George Covington. I'm 45 and I live in Ellenwood, Georgia.
I've watched so many of these, My 600 Pound Life, Too Large, all of these types of videos. I've watched tons of these, and I have never seen one that I related to so incredibly hard. The first time I watched this video and watched George's story, I was tearing up because while I was obviously never 700 pounds, I 1000% felt like my life was going down that road, and so much of the stuff that he talks about and the things that are mentioned in this video, I felt to maybe not as much of as an extent, but I definitely felt like I was headed down that path. And so I just really, when I saw this for the first time, I knew that I just had to talk about it. With that being said, we are going to be focusing on the beginning of George's journey, why he decided he wanted to lose weight, and the start of that process. As I already stated, George is 700 pounds. But the thing that is incredibly interesting about him to me is that he has a job that is not from home. So he is a kindergarten teacher and he shows up to work every single day.
If today is Friday, what day will tomorrow be, Kasani?
Saturday.
Good job, sweetheart. I teach kindergarten and I weigh as much as 14 of my students combined.
Mr. Covington is a great teacher. Mr. Covington is the best.
Now, what I think is incredibly interesting about this is even these shows, and I would say that these shows a lot of times maybe even further this narrative, but a lot of times when you watch these shows, it seems like, and a lot of times it's true, the people that are on the show are bedbound. The show makes them kind of look almost useless, like they're not contributing much to society. But as you can see with George, he is 700 pounds, but he gets up every day and he shows up to work and he teaches kids in kindergarten. And so he talks a lot about feeling like people have these negative perceptions and they have these preconceived notions about him because of his size.
A lot of parents, they go to the front office and they complain about their kids being in my class. I had one parent, she said, what if he falls on the kids?
George brings up having parents kind of be maybe a little bit weary of their kids being in his class. He talks about one parent wanting to pull their kid from his class because they were afraid that what if George falls on them, right? And so there's a lot of, I guess you could call it discrimination that happens when you are larger, and I can 100% understand what this feels like. Obviously not to the same degree, but I remember when I was 19 years old, trying to find my first job, there were many times, and maybe this is just in my head, but this is how I felt, that I would go into a job interview and the people would kind of look at me and they would write me off right away. And so I remember how thankful and happy I was when I got my first job, which was at the Van shoe store. I even told the people that hired me, like, hey, I really appreciate it. Like, I'm just really thankful that you gave me the chance, because there were so many times where I would be written off right away just because of my size. And so when he talked about that, again, it just hit me right in the heart, because I have felt that way 100%.
Even in elementary and middle school, nobody called me George. Everybody described me as, hey, that big guy.
Another thing that he brings up that I can really relate to is talking about being defined by your size. And this is something that I can 1000% relate to. I think when you are that large, it's just what people see first. And it's just so hard to not totally, I don't want to say define someone, but your first impression is, that is the big dude. And so you let it become a big part of your personality. I've talked about this before, but I was like, all right, if I'm going to be big, it was really important to me that I did not want to be bullied because I am a sensitive person. And so I was like, I'm going to be the funny fat guy. So if I can be the funny fat guy, if I can make fun of myself and make people laugh around me, that'll mean that I don't get bullied. And it actually did work pretty well. It worked very well, especially in high school. That was my persona. Like, I never took anything super seriously. I was always trying to crack jokes because I did not want people cracking jokes about me. Now, this is one of those things that it was definitely a double-edged sword because, yes, people didn't make fun of me, but because I made fun of myself so much, it also meant that people didn't really take me seriously. And so, yes, I wasn't getting made fun of, but I also felt like I never really formed very deep connections because I was always cracking jokes about myself. George describes himself as a hopeless romantic, and he talks about a relationship that he had in the past, one of his first ever relationships, where once they ended up breaking up, the woman that he was with basically told him, "You will never be able to find someone that loves you because of your size."
I had a girlfriend in high school, and she told me when we broke up, nobody ever gonna want you, and you'll never have another girlfriend.
Now, I was never in that position, but I was in the position of when I was in like high school and even out of high school, I remember I wanted to be in a relationship so bad, but at the same time, I felt almost guilty about my size to where I felt like I didn't deserve to be in a relationship. And that's something that's kind of explored in the video as well. And again, it's just like all of these little things that while I was watching the video, it just kept hitting me because I've never had one of these TLC shows feel like it was targeted at me so much. The concept of not being worthy of love is a really interesting thing. It's something that I think about a lot. I think the reason it's so interesting to me is because it's one of those things that I think a lot of people that are overweight and struggling with their weight, they seem to think it's one of those lose weight will be the silver bullet kind of things where it's like, I will lose the weight and then I will feel worthy of love. And so it's more of an internal thing because losing the weight, one, is not going to just all of a sudden make other people love you. Like, yes, of course it might make you more attracted to other people, stuff like that. But as far as internally and how you feel, a lot of people, myself included, you feel like losing the weight is going to solve all of these things that you have in your head, all of these negative thoughts you have about yourself, when in reality, it's not that simple. Now, everyone is different and maybe it does work for some people, but a lot of the conversations I've had with people, losing the weight is not going to all of a sudden make you love yourself or make you feel like you are worthy of all of these things that maybe you don't feel you are worthy of right now. For me, I feel like everyone is obviously worthy to be loved, but it's not as simple as lose weight and then that's solved.
George is my big brother. I would do anything for him. I would lay down my life for him in a blink of an eye. But as a family, everyone has always enabled him. Like whether it's be from fixing his food to helping clean his house.
This clip right here with George's brother, where he talks about how he knows that he is enabling him to, be the size that he is. I mean, when I say that it hit me super hard, one, I thought it was really cool and interesting to see someone be, aware and not deny that, right? Because anyone that is that size, it is just a fact of the matter. They have people that are helping them maintain that size or get to that size, right? And so I know, and I know that there are probably videos out there right now where people say, well, just stop doing that. Just stop enabling the person. And yes, of course, if it was that easy, duh, right? But when you are in that position, it is so much more nuanced than just stop doing it. The only way I can explain it is for myself. If I had people in my life that would try and get me to lose weight, people that were family members, and I would have a certain family member every time I saw them continuously bring up how I had to lose weight. Now, were they right? Yes, of course. Did that strain our relationship? Sadly, yes, it did. Because it was a constant thing that is like, of course I know that I need to lose weight. And of course George knows that he needs to lose weight. Does bringing it up constantly every time you see them, is that going to be the way that you solve the issue? For a lot of people, it usually isn't that, right? When you love someone, you want them to be happy. Of course, you don't want them to, die early, which is what happens when you get to the size that George is. But also, you don't want to, every time they see you, just be like, oh God, here we go again. This person is going to complain about my weight and they're going to talk about how I need to lose weight. And it's like, yes, I know that, right? And so, again, I'm not sitting here saying that I have the answer, but I feel like this is just such an interesting part of the video, and one that so many people, I feel like if you've never been in the position of either being that person that is overweight or being close to someone that is so overweight, it's hard to understand. It's really hard to explain that to someone who has never had that experience. For George, he talks about his, what I call click moment, the moment that he decided that he was like, you know what, I need to lose weight. And it's interesting because it wasn't some big health scare that he had, which normally is the case for people that are this large.
I first started thinking about losing weight when someone took a picture of Sincere and I. And I saw the picture, and I was like, wow, clearly seeing that picture that I'm not mobile, that I'm miserable.
He saw a photo of him and his, at the time, girlfriend, and it mortified him. He felt terrible. He felt bad for the woman he was in a relationship with because he almost felt bad that he was so large and it looked like he was uncomfortable, right? And so that is really interesting to me because everyone's click moment is different. And I've talked to a lot of people, and some people don't have that magic moment, that magic click moment. But for George, it was again him seeing a photo of him and his then girlfriend. And I think it just goes to show that he is definitely, as he claimed, a hopeless romantic. So to close out this video, the reason that I really thought that this was really interesting, and I think the reason that it really hit me so hard, was I feel like this episode and this video really did a great job at showing George's humanity, which it seems like a lot of times when I watch these shows, they kind of strip that from the people that they're sharing. And so I just thought it was really cool that it seemed like they showed George in a as positive as a light as they possibly could have, and I just thought that was really cool. Now, as far as updates on George, they have actually uploaded a kind of like teaser of the rest of his journey, and it's been shown that he did get the weight loss surgery, and he's lost close to 200 pounds. It might be more, now in the present time.
Started at 680, right now I'm at 556. Now I'm able to do things that I once wasn't able to do.
But he's lost quite a bit of weight. And he also, which I think is very cool, he has his own YouTube channel, which I will definitely link down below, which you guys should go definitely check out and give him some support, where he shares, his full day of eatings and talks about his journey. And, it's just a nice, quaint little channel that I think is really cool that he is, sharing himself. And I always think that those things are really interesting.
What's up, y'all? So, a lot of people been asking me, was like, well, hey, what do you eat? What do you eat? So I decided to make a video to show you some of the things that I love to eat. Now, before I get started, I just want you guys to know that I'm not claiming to be a dietitian.
That being said, that's about all I have to say. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments section down below. These videos are really fun for me to make, and I've been putting a lot more effort into them and trying to make them a lot more interesting. So I hope that you guys are seeing that effort. But again, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.